did it again. Recorded a whole video with the AC blasting through the microphone, so probably none of that got heard. So I'm going to do it again. But this will feel like it's probably like practice, like this is the second time through, so it'll come off a lot smoother. Yeah, probably not. So I'm recommending a book, which I don't do a lot of. There was a time that I spent, it was a good chunk of years, where I was reading voraciously. It was about the time that I dropped TV out of my habits, and then I switched over to books and was reading a lot of things. One book that I had read when I was much, like I guess in college age, I reread, and then I reread it every once in a while. It's one I recommend to people often. It's called the Tao of Pooh, T-A-O, the Tao of Pooh. It's a story. It's a look at the fable of Winnie the Pooh through the lens of Taoist philosophy, Eastern philosophy. If you're not familiar with Taoism, I took one class on Eastern philosophy in college, and all of a sudden I'm an expert. Not true, but I always did find it fascinating, the concept of Taoism and some of the other Confucianism and the Eastern philosophy ideas. So if you're not familiar, I'll try to break it down in way of Winnie the Pooh, the way the book does. The book's going to do obviously a much better job. It's a very quick read, and I'll put a link to the book here. And I believe the author's name is Christopher Hoff. I'm going to put it in the subtitle here. So, Pooh translates, the word Pooh, P-O-O-H, actually is a derivation of the word Pooh, P-U, from Mandarin or Cantonese, the Chinese language. But Pooh, in that language, it means the uncarved block. It is that thing that has not been touched or altered. It is in its purest state, and can become many things, right? Because it's uncarved block, but it is in that not touched yet state, which equates to Pooh, because Pooh has got this naivete that allows him to do many things and kind of always skirts any kind of trouble or danger. His naivete kind of like a little bit Homer Simpson-esque, a little bit, that his naivete lets him kind of survive when all around him are varying aspects of wilder parts of our personality. So, in Taoist philosophy, that idea, the idea is you start in a very pure state, and as you get more information, you're carved, and that takes you further away from being pure. Excuse me. that you become, the more you learn, the actual more biased you become, because you get biased towards information one way or the other. You get inputs, but that takes you away from your very pure state. Their whole concept is the idea of unlearning. Unlearning is more powerful, because people don't realize as they learn, the more they know, the less they know, really. Or that idea of not knowing, or knowing that you don't know of anything, is a very pure Taoist state. And that always resonated with me, not because I didn't like learning things, kind of the opposite, but I also kind of wanted to always measure that against. But I don't know everything, and there's probably so much more that I don't know than I do know. So anyways, that's what Winnie the Pooh represents, and this book does a great job telling that story. I think Pooh actually shows up in the book talking to the author while he's writing the book to say, why are you writing a story about me? I'm not much of anything, and that's the reason why I'm writing about you. Now, the various other characters in Winnie the Pooh, they all represent different aspects of human nature. Tigger is that unbridled enthusiasm that is often undirected and can actually, obviously get the people around him into all kinds of mischief and mayhem. So that's what Tigger represents. People like that, I'm sure. Piglet is worry, always concerned about something, probably to an extent that makes him not do things or causes problems because of his worry. Rabbit is an aspect too. I think Rabbit's aspect was intelligence but without knowledge, and I think Owl was knowledge without intelligence. The two are married in some way. And the book obviously will do a better job explaining it than I will in this very short video. Let's see what I leave out. Eeyore, that constantly woe is me, always a sad sack. Everyone knows one of those in their lives. That's always dour, and that again kind of leads to more problems. And I believe Christopher Robin shows up in the book as well. I think the explanation, if I remember correctly, is that he is closer to Pooh than any of the other characters, being he's a child. But even he has been affected by the carving of the information that he gets in his imagination. It still has its limitations because of what he's already learned. So it's a great book. It's one of the ones that I recommend to people all the time. It helps you kind of understand or put into a frame of context around the people that you know, the interactions that you have, and just human nature in general, married up against a philosophy that you might not be very familiar with. As a matter of fact, it's probably a really good book to learn Eastern philosophy if you've never learned it before, but you have an interest. Again, it's a very short read, and the link is down below. But I recommend it. It's one of my favorite books. So if you care for books, that's one to check out. And I don't know if you care for book reviews from a guy who drives around the side of a truck, but if you do, hit the like button down below and hit subscribe, and I'll do more of these on occasion. And then pass the word around to all your friends. All right, cheers.